from Takara Tomy and the Super Lifeform Robot Transformers Micron Legend. This is Ironhide alongside the Land Military Micron team. Here in the States, this is Demolisher and the Land Military Minicon team. Basically, Planet Fun just happened to have this in stock the other day. It's going to give me both Armada, Demolishor, and one of the better Minicon teams, all things considered. And you can look, just the box is gorgeous. It really is. Like, you got this great art of, I'll keep calling him Demolishor, but Ironhide and Armada right here. On the back, just look at this. I always love seeing the toy packaging from Takara Tomy because it's always so colorful and neat. You have the tank, and then it's like, boom, power. And you got him launching out Blackout. You have the missiles, and you got all the things together. He's like an ultra machine of death. Over here, who is that? That's Blackout. Okay, so you just have like a little profile so you know specifically Blackout is his Minicon. And then you got the 3 Minicons that are included as a bonus here. Again, that's the Land Military Minicon team. What's really cool is down here, your checklist. It's like over here you have all the Autobots together. You got Optimus, Hotshot, Red Alert. That's Smokescreen and Laserbeak. Over here you got Megatron, Starscream, Demolishor, and Cyclonus. In the middle you got these Minicons. And you got the Versus. And then over here you just got a good picture of all the toys together. I really, really like this box. Now, it is in rough condition. All the edges are coming undone. There's a really ugly crease right here. So I don't feel terrible about taking these guys out of the box. Plus, tape's been cut. They've already been out of the box. I am going to keep the box because I do think it's that nice. But it's just a really good-looking presentation for the toys. And it also means, hey, I finally get to get my grubby little hands on Demolishor, which is considered one of the best toys from the early years of Armada. So, absolutely, let's crack this guy open. Getting these 4 out of the box, and, well, these 5 out of the box, and it really does work. All the vehicles look spectacular together, and there is a synergy here. I do like seeing this squadron of heavily armed Decepticons just coming straight at you. A really cool thing here is I think Takara Tomy did a great job at pairing an unrelated Minicon team to an unrelated larger Transformer toy. This isn't how Demolishor originally came out in Takara Tomy markets. He had his own release alongside Blackout. And the Minicon team, the Land Military Minicons, they had their own release, just like they did over here. This was just a gift pack put out by Takara Tomy, but they do kind of all feel right together. Despite the fact that there's not much in fiction that pairs them together, they've never been meant to go together, it kind of just works this way. And it allows me to experience some of the best Minicons, as well as one of my favorite looking deluxes. We're going to look at the big guy first, and then we're going to check out the Minicons. Demolishor's tank mode is a thing of cartoony beauty. There has never been a tank like this in real life, and there never will be, but god, doesn't it look cool for a TV show or a video game. I can kind of see like maybe a little bit of Metal Gear Solid-like design in here. It's definitely like a very anime-esque tank. And alongside that, it kind of makes me think of a lot of the drones that you see nowadays. Like, I was literally just watching today about a drone tank that I think South Korea's military is putting together. If you switch these out with machine guns, it actually looks a lot like this, where it's basically just maybe about 4 feet tall, and it has the central component and then guns. I don't know why I'm bringing real-world military stuff into this. My apologies, guys. But I'm just saying, it's not that outlandish a design for what it is, and I do think it looks very, very cool. I especially love just the fact that it can pivot all the way around like this. It does eventually start hitting stuff back here, so I guess it can't do the complete 360, but you can get good... Oh, no! You just gotta get it in the right angle, but it can go all the way around. Awesome. Alongside that, you can raise up the turrets, which is great. Now, it's not like a Generations Warpath. It's not a realistic-looking tank, but it has a lot more functionality than a lot of Transformers tanks, and I also just think it has a lot of personality on top of that. Also, what do you think those stains are? I'm going to tell you this. Mud is brown. That is dark red. On Cybertron, there is no Geneva Convention. But guys, this isn't the Great Mouse Detective. Let's not think about the orphans and widows that Demolishor has definitely drowned. Let's talk about Blackout, this little Minicon guy. Now, I really like Blackout's design here. It basically just looks like a little drone unit. It even has a little radar dish back here. It pairs up really well with Demolishor. There's a lot of Minicons that don't really look like they go with their partners all that well. I'm thinking about like Hotshot and Jolt. To some extent, even characters like Sparkplug and Optimus. But I do think that these guys, both thematically and color-wise, work, even though Blackout actually does kind of have his own color scheme going in a little bit of a way. Alongside that, they can combine. So you take these arms, push them down, like so, and then we're going to take the radar dish and put it in, and then you can see you got Blackout's head and a port there. Boom. It's not the best connection in the world, but it gives you a more complete looking tank with a better front end. And also, that's the type of integration that I think you should have seen a lot more of with Minicons. The only characters I can think of that did this were Demolishor and Cyclonus, where both of them got to essentially have Minicons that completely changed how the front end of their vehicle looked. It's a great thing. It makes both figures feel better when you can make a better vehicle mode or a more weaponed up robot mode. It's a lot of great interconnected play that you just don't see a lot of in toys in general. Not even back when Transformers was supposed to be doing it with the Minicons. So a great example here. Demolishor and Blackout, best friends forever. But let's not forget, this is a sleepover, baby. We got 3 more people here, including Knockout, Bone Crusher, and Wreckage. Knockout, remember, we did the mini toys of Knockout not too long ago. Really cool to finally have one of Knockout's original toys. Really happy to have this guy. But we can further arm up Demolishor with all of them. So, I'm going to take Bone Crusher, put him right here. Yeah. And then I'm going to take, well, that's Wreckage. I'm going to take Bone Crusher, this one. And, ooh, that's not going to be good. I'll put him up here. There we go. And then Knockout. I'll put Knockout here if I can. No, there's not going to be... Oh, there might not be enough clearance to put Knockout anywhere. That's fine. Knockout can lead the parade. There we go. So now you have an even more armored up Demolishor, because that's what we needed. Think about all the Minicon integration we've talked about, and yet we've not even talked about the main gimmicks that Demolishor has with his Minicons. For one, let's look at how Blackout is right here, right? Remember how I said it's not the best connection? It's because it's a spring-loaded connection. You see this little button here on the back of the turret? We're going to push that little button, and out comes Blackout, ready to fight. Awesome. But now he's going to come back, because maybe there's someone coming over the hill. Well, what is he going to do? He's going to connect right here to Demolishor's arm. Now, this only happens on the left arm of Demolishor. But as soon as you put it in, these bullets, or rather these missiles are going to go forward a little bit. You can see they are no longer exactly the same length as this side. And once they're in, we're going to pull back, and they fire. So you have 2 spring-loaded launch gimmicks. Of course, missile launchers, but also a Minicon launcher. And sure, it only works with Blackout, but that's cool. That's really cool. I'm sorry, I'm really taken with Demolishor, especially after we've looked at so many Armada guys recently. I think that he is playing with the Minicons better than anyone else, and it's still really cool and impressive. Like, don't get me wrong, Smokescreen, you had the tow line. That was fun. Sideways, he has his riders, but he can't really do anything with other Minicons. This guy's throwing them around like he is like a bouncy house. He's a blood-covered bouncy house. Doing the once-over on all the Minicons, we're going to obviously start with Blackout, just so that we can, continue where we left off here in a minute. We get Blackout fully transformed, and he's actually a pretty well-proportioned Minicon. He's a bit lanky, very tall, but I do like his general appearance. I like how he has this very asymmetric head. He both has, like, a monocle and also, like, the jazz-style eye visor. You have a ball joint in the shoulder as well as a hinge, so you almost get like a butterfly joint with this guy. Nothing in the waist, but you do have a hinge in the hip and a hinge in the knee. and then nothing in the feet. But yeah, tall boy, very tall boy for the Minicons. And then talking about our other three, why don't we do Knockout first? Knockout is a great looking Minicon. So we're going to fold out the legs here. Well, actually, it might be better if we do the arms first. Yep, better if we do the arms first. And then bring this down, and, very tight. Very, very tight, my word. Old toy that has literally come all the way around the world. But we still get him transformed. And yeah, Knockout, looking great. I made the joke in the review that Knockout isn't quite a knockout yet. He'll knock you out for right now. He has the big missile launcher here, and a good-looking, proportioned body. He looks like a little bruiser. I'm surprised how short he looks next to Blackout. Let's bring in, this should be Wreckage. Now, Wreckage, we're just going to go side to side. That's going to give us the arms. Ooh, he is very stiff, too. And then bring the legs down. Yeah. So here we have Wreckage. He reminds me of Tank, the GoBot named Tank. It's something about the color scheme and also that head, but I really like him too. Just look at this guy, a little bruiser. Love him. He totally does hang out with Knockout. And then that just leaves Bone Crusher, who we're going to... Oh, he might have a little bit of an awkward transformation. No! Okay, so to transform him, we're literally going to flip half his body around. That's incredible. I've never seen that type of transformation on a big transformer, let alone on a Minicon. And then he has this awesome looking head. He looks like Seymour from Teen Titans. Wow. Okay, I'm not big on the big dumb gun arm. But oh my god, I thought he was going to be a snooze fest. That was super cool. He has a vertical split and then completely turns around on himself and has that sick head. I was going to say Knockout leads this team. No, Bone Crusher, you lead this team. Very clearly, you're the boss, and Blackout is here to, advise you guys. You might be in charge of Demolishor, to be honest with you, because you look scary, Bone Crusher. So I can give a huge recommend to the Land Military Minicon team, but what about Blackout's big bro? How does Demolishor rank up? How does Demolishor compare? Like a champ. That's how. I mean, just look at this dude. I can't think of another Transformer who looks like Demolishor. From his proportions, to his gun hands, to the Igor-like features of his face, he's just his own guy. And it's beautiful. And I love him. Demolishor feels like one of those characters that should have been brought into G1. The way that Hotshot has been. The way that characters I'm looking around right now. There's characters like Override, who essentially just became G1ified over time. Animated, you had Bulkhead and Lockdown. It feels like Demolishor should be in that group. Barricade. Talking about movie bots. Look at the Blackout. It feels like movie Blackout, Demolishor should have eventually been brought into other things. Maybe animated, maybe Prime. I know there's a design for him for War for Cybertron. I'm kind of shocked that a character design like this has been left to rot in Armada and Energon. I don't say rot as in I don't like those series, I do. But it's so crazy to me that they've never brought the character or the design back. Because look at him. He's gorgeous. I mean, you look up close and the guy has so much personality. He has these massive shoulders, an incredibly thin waist, and the big grimace. He's baring his teeth like, "Argh!" And he's got his eyes, the one very squinty eye and the big eye. I know that could be like a targeting reticle. I've always liked the idea that, like I said, he's like Igor. He has the one really big eye. And that's in keeping with the fact that he's like a toady to Megatron. He's like that weird, not necessarily sniveling, but he's a suck-up. He's so much of a brown noser that literally his face is brown. But that's the thing. He's such a cool-looking guy, and that's just his head. The body has so many funky shapes to it. From his very thin lower legs to his massive hips, his childbearing hips. He has these cool missiles along his shoulders. He literally has guns for fingers. You can't shake hands with the man. You think Shockwave has it bad? At least he has one normal hand. Demolishor doesn't even have fingers. Like, that is how committed to the war effort he is. And by the way, let's say that he's fighting, right? Oh, I can't hold a gun. Well, guess what? Boop, 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 boop. I'm just gonna do this. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when I roll at you like this? That's literally what he does in the cartoon. He literally... He's literally just like, how do I fight? Oh, I'm gonna half transform back into the tank. No, I'm a tank that can run at you. Oh, cower in fear. I'm a tank with legs. You thought that you could get away from me because you went over a ditch? Nah, I walk. I'm having too much fun. I'm having too much fun with this dumb toy. But I really like this design. Now, it's not the most articulated thing in the world, to be fair. Let's get his arms back down. You have a swivel at the head. No, you don't even. You can go back and forth at the head, and that's it. You could have used a universal in the shoulder. Instead, you just have swivel up and down. Swivel up and down for the elbow. Swivel up and down for the other elbow. You can get really far down, to be fair, all the way around, actually. You do have a waist joint, which is nice. Actually, weirdly enough, you have like 2 waist joints. You have a universal at the hip, kinda. You also have, a little bit of knee. There you go, a little bit of knee. And then you can kind of go back and forth a little bit at the foot. So he's not the most articulated guy in the world. And to be honest with you, he's going to be colliding with himself constantly. But think about everything the toy does, from the Minicon launching gimmick, to all the Minicon ports he has, to his missile launching gimmick. And he's a big, bulky toy on top of all of that. Like, I could see how this design is very quickly and very efficiently cleaned up. You wouldn't have to do much. Just, take care of some of the things like his massive orange trigger crotch, and then, maybe just give him a little bit more, width, maybe make his shoulders a little bit longer, and then add some universal joints. Like, a modern Legacy United Demolishor really could just be this figure again, with a couple extra ball joints and universals, and you'd be pretty well set. Let's bring Blackout back in, because let's say Demolishor is fighting you, right? And he is done shooting you with his shoulders and his hands. Well, that's when Blackout can be like, it's okay, boss, I'm here. And he's going to transform back, because, Transformers, more than meets the eye. There we go. And, yeah. And then he'll just be like, here, boss. No, I'm your gun. I could write a love song about these two. There we go. Look at him. I would shoot anyone for you. I would shoot puppy dogs for you. There we go. They're evil. They're shooting dogs today. It's been a long day, guys. I'm sorry. I am not all together right now, but God, Demolishor, you're making the end of the day a good one. So Demolishor is incredible. How is he going to look alongside some of your other Armada bots? Well, next to Starscream, he's going to look puny. This is incorrect for the show. In the show, Demolishor was actually a little bit bigger than Starscream. At the same time, he's going to be taller than most of your deluxes of the day. So I think it's fine. Again, scale in Transformers wasn't really a thing anyone cared about until recently. So I'm not going to hold that against Demolishor. But hey, he looks great next to Predacon, doesn't he? This 3-pack made for some great surprises. From Demolishor having a more in-depth transformation than I would have expected, to the wonderful interplay he has with the Minicons, to honestly just how much I like the land military Minicon team, especially Bone Crusher. I think that this was a wonderful multi-pack. And even if you're not able to get the multi-pack, I would encourage you to track down any one of these figures you see on screen. The weakest toy here is probably Blackout, but Blackout has sacrificed being good on his own to make Demolishor, the toy he is an accessory to, even better, which is what the Minicons really should have been doing. And then the Minicons that are supposed to be by themselves, they excel where Blackout doesn't. Which again, that is absolutely how it should play out. When I'm getting a Minicon for the Minicon needs to be unique and exciting by themselves. When the Minicon is coming with a Demolishor,
well, now they can sacrifice a little bit and focus more on just making Demolishor an even more impressive toy. This is the absolute gold standard of how Armada as a toy line should be, and how the best toys in Armada integrated themselves with the Minicons. This is a wonderful toy experience, and I would encourage anyone to track Demolishor down, if for no other reason than to be able to look at all the blood on his tracks.